This bank kicked out a black man, not realizing he was really the boss. The warm glow of the morning sun bathed Austin, Texas, in golden light as the bustling city stirred to life. Among the throng of people making their way through the streets was Mark Henderson, a man on a mission. Dressed in a crisp suit that spoke of both success and determination, he made his way toward the Mainland Bank, a building emblematic of old-world authority and financial dominance, now in need of revitalization, just like the community it served. Mark's recent acquisition of the bank marked a significant milestone in his campaign to bring financial empowerment to communities that had long been overlooked. Today, however, was not just about celebrating new ownership. It was about setting the tone for a transformed future. Mark was well aware of the skepticism that often met men like him when they stepped into spaces historically reserved for others, but he was undeterred. As he approached the grand entrance of the bank with its towering columns and intricate stonework, Mark took a breath, a mix of anticipation and pride swelling within him. This was more than a business venture. It was a statement. He pushed open the heavy doors and stepped into the air-conditioned lobby, where the atmosphere was a blend of hushed conversations and the soft clacking of keyboard keys. He moved toward the receptionist, a woman who sat typing diligently behind the counter. "Good morning," he greeted warmly, his voice carrying a hint of the resolve that had brought him this far. Without lifting her gaze, the receptionist replied, "Good morning. How may I assist you today?" Before Mark could introduce himself, a crisp, authoritative voice interrupted. "Excuse me, sir." A middle-aged bank manager, clad in a suit that mirrored the establishment's gravitas, approached with haste. His expression was a cocktail of authority and misplaced irritation. "We don't permit solicitors or salesmen in the lobby. If you're here about an account, you'll need to schedule an appointment." Mark blinked, taken aback by the immediate assumption made about him. He opened his mouth to introduce himself, but the manager's stern demeanor gave him pause. "Sir, this is a place of business," the manager continued, growing impatient. "If you aren't a customer, I'll have to ask you to leave now." Mark's brow furrowed slightly, though he maintained his composure. "I'm here because I'll have to call security if you don't comply." The manager cut him off, his voice rising enough to draw the attention of nearby employees and patrons. At this pivotal moment, Mark's wife and business partner, Clara, appeared. Her confident stride and calm demeanor commanded instant respect. "Excuse me, but is there an issue here?" she inquired, her voice smooth yet authoritative. Thrown off balance by Clara's poised entrance, the manager paused. This gentleman was," Clara interjected with a knowing smile. "This gentleman is Mark Henderson, the new majority owner of Mainland Bank." A wave of astonished silence washed over the lobby as Clara's words sank in. The receptionist's eyes widened in realization, and the manager's face flushed with embarrassment. "I apologize," the manager stammered, his confidence crumbling in the face of a glaring oversight. "Mr. Henderson, I didn't realize. Please, let me show you to your office." "It's all right," Mark said, his voice even but firm. He understood that assumptions were as much a part of this establishment as its mahogany desk. Changing that would take more than an ownership title. "I'd like to meet with the staff as soon as possible." "Of course, right this way," the manager replied, eager to make amends for his earlier misstep. As Mark and Clara followed the manager down the hallway toward his new office suite, Clara leaned in and whispered, "Quite the welcome party." Mark chuckled softly, nodding, "Just part of the journey. We knew it wouldn't be easy, but that's why we're here." Inside the office, a space of polished wood and leather, it was clear that the people waiting for their new leader were intrigued, if not wary. Mark gathered the employees together for an introductory meeting. He spoke passionately about his vision for the bank, focusing on inclusivity, fairness, and support for all individuals seeking financial services. Some employees listened with skepticism written on their faces, while others grew increasingly interested, nodding at his words. "We're here to serve the entire community, not just a select few," Mark stated with conviction. "We'll offer fair loans and financial advice, particularly to those who have faced barriers in accessing these opportunities. This bank will become a beacon of change." Clara watched from the side, observing the shifts in attitudes. She knew Mark had a knack for inspiring trust and hope. It was one of the many reasons she stood by him every step of the way. After the meeting, Mark and Clara stood by the large office window, gazing out at the sprawling cityscape of Austin. It was a land of challenges and untapped potential, ripe for the changes they had planned. "Do you think they'll come around?" Clara asked quietly, a touch of concern in her voice. Mark turned to her, his gaze steady and full of determination. "They will. We'll prove that this bank can thrive on integrity and inclusiveness. Maybe slowly, but people will see the potential we bring." Clara slipped her hand into his, her confidence in him unwavering. Then let's get started. We have a lot of work ahead of us. With renewed resolve, Mark and Clara set about the monumental task of transforming not just a financial institution, but the broader landscape of hope and opportunity for everyone in their community. The journey was just beginning, and they were ready for each challenge the path ahead would bring.